Greetings, my name is Olivia Otieno. This is Double O Direct, live from the residence of the Honourable Martha Karua. Of course, the Honourable Karua is the Azimio presidential running mate, and here we are to discuss a top series of matters, including what she plans to bring to the ticket.
Asante, thank you for having me.
It is such an honour and such a pleasure. Now, to understand this very long and very complex journey that you have been on, now that we're here and you're on the ticket and we're heading to the elections, what next?
What next is hard work now to get to the finishing line strong. Not just strong, to get an overwhelming win. Would like to settle this question about disputed elections by getting an overwhelming win, and we are doing our best to persuade a majority of Kenyans that it was worth investing in this ticket, that in fact in this election there's no other credible option, that we are the real deal and we'll do whatever it takes. Coming once, coming twice, thrice, as many times as it takes to convince a majority. So hard work now, and immediately after, because we pray that we be the ones, we are ready also for hard work. Not to rest, we are ready for hard work.
Political journey has been a long one. Have there ever been moments when you've thought about quitting?
I would be lying if I didn't say yes. Towards the end of my first term as an MP, I felt that we as a parliament had not achieved as much as I expected, and I started feeling like it wasn't useful to be in parliament at that time. And I actually do remember telling my parents, because they're my number one fans, and I told them, I'm considering not defending my seat. My dad was terribly alarmed, and he was like, they've troubled you so much. You can't give them this on a silver platter. Do it just once more for me. I wasn't quite convinced, but then in between, because that's year 1997, at the beginning. Fast forward, we formed a group in Parliament, Inter-Parties Parliamentary Group, IPPG. And by August, we had come with a raft of reforms. And this was unprecedented because there were clear lines of opposition and government. We weren't even on talking terms. We were booing each other, obstructing each other in Parliament. And that's what was frustrating me. Because as a lawmaker, I was feeling we have not been effective. The IPPG brought a raft of legal and constitutional amendments that sort of leveled the playing field and prepared us for the 2002 win. We thought it would prepare us for the 1997, it just brought us closer. We opened airwaves to both sides. We opened the procedure for holding meetings. They used to deny us licenses. We removed the licensing bit, brought in notifications, which is what we have today, on a first-come, first-served basis. We removed the sedition laws that were getting publishers and anybody who criticized government on sedition charges. We did so many things. We removed the authoritarian authority they had given to chiefs, that a chief could even come to check who's in your home, and if you had more than 9 people, that's a public gathering, yet in a private space. A raft of things that opened up. Exactly. I felt vindicated. It came the last bit of the 5-year term, but we had done something so significant. We had also laid ground for the start of the formal journey of constitutional review. We were not happy with the act that was passed in 1997, but now that we had established we could have bipartisan support for national issues, that's the first thing we did in 1998. to deepen the reforms and to have the formal journey of the constitutional review start. So that's the only time I felt that I could quit Parliament, but I didn't because the time was not up and something significant happened.
Incredible. Yeah. That is incredible. You've already highlighted a couple of challenges, but what additional challenges did you face that the public may not necessarily know about and that particularly affected you as a woman in politics?
Well, you're going to your constituency, you are elected as a member of Parliament, and they're putting the administration to frustrate you. I'm in a church, and a chief comes in as a chief guest. The chief becomes the chief of the church and is coming forward like I'm not supposed to be addressing the church. And in one extreme incident, the chief snatched the list from my hands that I had been given of how to call out for the fundraiser, an affront. My mind has, because that time we didn't have security as members of Parliament, descended on the chief. They didn't brutalize him, but they got hold of him, subdued him and ejected him out of the church and stayed with him out there under restraint. In the meantime, I told the congregation, because I saw the incident really shook the presiding pastor of the church. It was an AIPCA church. And he started removing his robe right there in front of the audience. And you know, normally they go back room. He started removing his robe, and I realized he's taken off. So I asked the congregation, you are the one who invited me. I can see the pastor is frightened. I am not. Are you frightened? Do we go on and we allow the pastor to go? He's human. Or do I stop? I'm your guest. The congregation was encouraged, and they said, let's go on. So we excused the pastor, and we went on. In the meantime, the chief is pleading with my people so that he doesn't lose face in his area of authority. Can he be allowed to come to the church, apologize to me, and we sit there together so that we normalize? Yes. They allowed him, but under watch, and they walked with him. They were his bodyguards. Wow. He came in and sat meekly. Yes. We finished the whatever. Oh. And that was one challenge. It again happened with a DO who came to my home area, now my home village. I'm having a meeting, and he comes to say there is no meeting. Okay? I take the mic and I tell him, Dio, this is my meeting and my microphone. Yes. And I'm not giving you this microphone. Go tell the provincial administration to buy you one. And you will not talk in this meeting, and we have said no. Do what you want. Get your police to shoot, because he had APs. And when the bullets are over, we'll get you. And they can begin with me. I'm at the podium. And I continued now talking. I'm not engaging him anymore. I went on talking, and I led the people to sing that we refuse Kanu rule, you know. Yes. Yes. And actually saying we have refused to be ruled unjustly by Kanu. And we went on with the meeting. The DO had to go. Yes. Yeah, but not before I had removed his cap, because, you know, the coat of arms is the symbol of authority. Mm-hmm. I told him, maybe this is what is making you arrogant. I just snatched it and kept it at the back. So even if he goes to where I had already, you know. Yes. After those two incidents, the administration kept off me. Yeah. So we really had to, shall I say, almost physically fight for our space. Yes. Because I'm elected. I can't agree to be edged out of my constituency by whatever. And it was happening. I was conscious. It's happening because I'm a woman. A chief won't snatch from a male member because he may fear a physical encounter. A DO won't come to speak arrogantly. But I did put them in their place, and that was the last.
Fantastic. I think those are really important lessons.
But I shouldn't be telling you this. This is for my book. Actually spoiling my book.
When does that come out?
It's coming out soon.
I wanted to ask you about, what do you feel that you are bringing to this particular ticket? you as Martha Karua, not just you as a lawyer, an advocate for human rights, a former MP, but you as an individual. What do you feel that you're bringing to this ticket?
Bringing resolve. I'm bringing determination to do the things we have committed to do. If I bring nothing else, I bring that to the table. That behind my captain, that combination, we will have the necessary political will, if you like.
Yes.
I'm there by his side to make him, to add to his strength, because he's a strong person.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm bringing that, and then together, combined, because I'm helping him as a co-pilot.
Yes.
Or shall I say deputy, because co is equal. I am his deputy. So I bring that on the table to help him push through his agenda.
Do you believe that it's imperative, especially in this upcoming election, that the primaries have women running mates?
It is very important. One, it shows that you have internalized the Constitution, the will of the people, because the Constitution is the covenant Kenyans made for themselves,
Yes.
and which must be followed by their leadership. You're bringing inclusivity. It is very significant. It's a message to slightly more than half the population that you have space. It is not enough for us to be told lip service that we will include you. It is important to be included right at the beginning, where we are beginning to make this nation called Kenya. So I feel there's Meal Ticket has told the women of Kenya, it's not about me, it's about us. And it's about the people of Kenya, because the men are our brothers, they are our fathers, they are our partners, they are our sons. So we are being told as a family, this includes you. Yeah.
Before I ask you about what you're going to bring for women, should you become the deputy president, I'd just like to ask about your life-work balance, because it was in 1980 when you graduated law school, and it's been now actually 42 since then. How have you managed to keep that balance between your career, your time in public service, and your personal life?
Let me say this, you never get it right. Life is about trying and adjusting wherever you feel adjustments are needed. So I've done it just like we do, even those who are not in politics, to keep a perfect balance between your business, between your career, family, and even just if you are in private business, your business, and to give yourself a little me time. It is an effort we have to make. We never get it right. Life is about trying. I keep trying, keep adjusting, even today. Because if my children are adults and have given me grandchildren, grandchildren are still family. Friends are the family you choose for yourself. So I have to find me time, even amidst business. Even if 10 minutes, 15, there's still that struggle to keep a healthy balance.
You've mentioned your grandchildren, and coming up is the Day of the African Child. So tell me about what that day symbolizes for you and what you feel that the future holds for the Kenyan child.
It's a day to reflect, really, where we are in matters children and where we ought to be. And when we are asking where we are, I don't even begin with education, whether every child is in. I begin on the streets. It's heartbreaking to have any child not having shelter, not having enough or something on their plate, not being catered for. We begin there, then we come to education. And if you remember, in the first NAC government, we tried to absorb all the children from the streets, and they were clean for a while. It is doable. Giving not just children, but ensuring that as much as possible, the right to life, the right to dignity is put into practice, because life on the streets and without food is not life that is worth living. So giving the right to life meaning, giving human dignity meaning, that is what comes to mind when I think of the African child. And the Kenyan child is the African child. What is it that we can do as Kenyans? We can do as people in leadership. And that is something that is already catered for in the manifesto we launched about basic needs and rights. The amount of money going to be given to families that are at the complete bottom is to give dignity to life, so that at least food and shelter, lowering prices or the cost of living, the first item is food. So all those are the things, bringing health to everybody. The child is included, you know, Baba care. So those are the things that come to my mind. The basic needs, basic rights, education, dignity, and all the other things that make our children smile.
Should Kenya find themselves in a position with a woman deputy president, the question is, what then happens to women's empowerment with regards to financial empowerment, with regards to education, with regards to healthcare? You've touched on it slightly. Could you kindly expound on that?
I think all those things are covered in our manifesto about getting credit accessible for the young, because the young are both female and male. Getting them 7 years holiday before they begin repaying the loans, so that the business will have taken off and all that. Removing the barriers, because already we have a youth fund, but there are so many barriers that our youth are not accessing. Already there is a government policy saying 30% of jobs go to the youth and to women. They're not being accessed. Even the quota for the disabled, or differently abled if you like, it's not being accessed. Pretenders are getting this instead of the sector. So removing those barriers, and those barriers are rent-seeking barriers. It's corruption. So good governance removes all these barriers. Even health. Universal health care has been on the lips of the Jubilee administration. Corruption is the elephant in the room. And the president has said it. He's been gracious enough to accept that the country is reeling under the burden of corruption. That is the greatest fight we have to put up, the fight of all times, and a fight which we can only succeed with the support of Kenyans. And I know when the leadership is committed, Kenyans are tired also. You don't want a barrier when you're seeking health, when you're seeking a license. When you're just going about life, somebody is trying to create an non-existence offense to get you to give something. We need to remove all those barriers. We need to fight corruption. And fighting corruption doesn't mean putting anybody under, what shall I say? It doesn't mean a partisan job. It means making the law apply equally to your brother, to your children, to everybody, the same way. And making sure that we, the public, are also participating and supporting the government. And we saw it in 2002. Or shall I say 2003, because the government began in January of 2003. We saw the public getting police to return the bribes they had taken. These are armed police, but the police are also part of the public, so they can feel the spirit of a new era, so they would comply. We had people recover, large numbers of people, but they were not a mob because they were orderly, recover the Kenyatta International Conference Center from those who had occupied it, claiming ownership. They didn't damage even a single window pane. They didn't harass or injure the people they are removing. So an orderly way of stopping what is wrong. We saw people walking when the matatu industry refused the Michuki rules. We need that kind of support from the people. And I know the people of Kenya are always ready to support reforms that benefit them, so long as the top gives the right signal. My principal and me, as the second in command behind him, are ready, able and willing, and this is our commitment to Kenyans, that we will make this happen together with you.
You have been labelled the Iron Lady, and you've always had a very strong stance against corruption. Do you feel that you're very public, very vocal, straight-edged agenda has been a barrier in certain climates to your rising in certain political offices?
I would say yes and no, because the public have always responded by voting me in. And I maintain even up to today that I was voted in Kirinyaga in 2017. Whether anybody believes it or not, I know the people of Kirinyaga know they voted me in, and I know. And even those pretending on the throne know I was voted in. So the public does reward a stand that can benefit them. And I feel that even today, I'm where I am because we are a total sum of our experiences. I'm where I am because of all that, including that which may have appeared not beneficial to me at one time, okay? That is the total sum of whom I am. And that's why I'm sitting at this space today as a running mate.
Part of the very important agitation for multipartyism, as we now seek to get into a new government formation, you've advocated always for good governance. What do you see as the next agitation?
The next agitation is for faithful implementation. Even when in government, one has to carry that burden. It's a responsibility. You have to feel the weight of what Kenyans want. And therefore, I have to go carrying that on my shoulders, knowing that trust has been bestowed upon us to do certain things. So I will go with total commitment to the agenda for the people of Kenya. And every day, I'll sleep and ask myself, are we moving towards it? And I'll redouble my effort. It is an honor to be given a responsibility by Kenyans because it's trust. So I am saying with a straight face that kindly entrust us with this job. We are ready for you. We are committed and we'll do it with you, not alone.
When we look at the state of the economy, we're currently quite strongly consumer-led. Are there any plans for a more manufacturing-led economy for this country?
Exactly. That's what our captain explained about our manifesto, that we are going to move to having industries in every county. We are calling it one county, one product. That will not only give us jobs, it will also spark growth, so that we move from being a consumer and detached on one very important thing. For the highways, we are doing that, the elevated ones like the airport to Westlands Expressway. We need steel for those big whatever's the stands that are elevating the highway, for our buildings, for everything. But we don't make steel, we are importing. We have iron ore. We have the products, the necessary raw materials. So we are going to go there. And we have much more than just that. So this is a time. We need a strong mandate from Kenyans to actualize these plans. And we are asking Kenyans, please give us this mandate so that we can go to economic liberation.
In the early 2000s, forecasts and 4 scenarios that came about. I'm sure you know what they are. We had the flying geese, we had Maendeleo, we had Katiba, and so on. Where would you say we are now, and where do you think we are headed with regards to trying to achieve, because the ultimate was the flying geese model, with regards to balance?
I will use the language of our principle that we have achieved, to a good measure, political liberation, social liberation. What we are remaining with is economic liberation, not because the economy has not grown, but because of the inequalities and lack of access to opportunities to a majority. It's only when opportunity is available to a majority of Kenyans that we can say we have achieved economic liberation. We have liberated our people from hunger. We have liberated our people from basic needs. That's where we are heading. And our manifesto is geared towards economic liberation and good governance. Uongozi bora is key to this.
You talked about manufacturing, you talked about women empowerment, especially financial empowerment. And one of the industries that we have here is the mitumba industry. And if we're looking towards manufacturing, and in fact, now that we're becoming more consumers of African wear, what would you say, the future brings with regards to the textile industry and growth of that manufacturing sector?
I think we got to contextualize and understand. The person who buys and wears mitumba, given an opportunity and should their life progress, even the person who is importing the mitumba may not wear them because they've made money and they're buying new clothes. Nobody wants to live at the bottom. Nobody wants to stay in that grass-thatched hut. When they make money, they go to a more permanent dwelling. So our proposal is not to disadvantage those who are in the mitumba business. It's saying, come, we go on this journey together. Investing in the cotton industry so that our farmers start growing cotton. Those people growing cotton are still connected to the people in the mitumba business. They are our brothers and sisters. We walk this journey together. That cotton doesn't grow in one day. It doesn't get ginned the same day you plant. It's a journey we are walking together. Mitumba business will not be stopped. But there is a way you transit, okay? We've transisted in most of the country from the grass-thatched huts. They are still there in other parts. For those who are giving the grass to those thatching their houses, we didn't put them out of business. Maybe some of them are the shopkeepers selling the mabati. So what is envisaged is a transition where the society transits from one mode of from a certain living to another, and where we have opportunity to wear what we want. When I grew up and our textile industries were strong, I remember in secondary school, I could buy material with my pocket money, 10 shillings. I could buy 2 yards of cotton, 5 bob each, and make myself a fantastic outfit. In fact, I have photos on my album. We want Kenyans to have that opportunity to choose to wear what is new or what is second-hand, because second-hand business, second-hand clothing will never completely go. You'll still find those shops. But people will not be doing that because they have no alternative. It's because you choose to. Yeah, so giving people alternatives. And I know people who start with pushing mkokoteni. The next day, the person may have a tuk-tuk. It's not because we banned mkokoteni. It's because they have money to buy the tuk-tuk. The tuk-tuk person may now buy a matatu. That doesn't mean we have banned tuk-tuk business. Just opening up opportunities.
Opening up opportunities. I'm a huge proponent of women in fashion and especially African wear.
And you're wearing a beautiful dress.
Thank you. This is African Fabric and Designs Kenya, and I want to find out about your attire because I noticed whilst you were in court, you were very Western in your dressing. Now you have a very particular African touch to your attire. Could you tell me more about that?
May I tell you that even in court today, I wear only made in Kenya. So if you see me going to court, whatever I wear, and I've been to court recently, is Kenyan made, except the shirt, which are coming already made. My African wear, I'm African, so it shouldn't be a surprise that I love myself as an African, I'm proud of who I am, and that I want to scream from far that as you come to meet me, you already have known it's an African on the way. I even stopped permed hair and went to sister locks, which I'm African, and I'm so proud of our young generation. A majority of them today, you find them in braids or in just natural hair or sister locks or something, or locks, whatever locks. I'm proud of the young generation, even they're leading. And you fall there, you're a much younger person. You fall there, they're wearing beautiful, beautiful clothes. Our weddings have moved from ready-made to things with a touch of African. It has caught on like bushfire. I used to admire West Africans when I go to their countries. They walk tall and proud. donned in African wear. That's now who we have become as Kenyans.
Yes.
Let us be proud of who we are. That doesn't mean you can't wear Western clothing, but let us basically be us, who we are.
The youth are the majority. What can you tell them with regards to putting their trust in your future government should you be elected?
I want to begin by myself as the deputy. One, the manifesto, I keep saying Baba's basket has something for everybody, for the youth, for women, for children, for the men, for differently abled, for the marginalized. It's all there. But for the youth, I'll remind them, I'm a mother to youth. So I'm your mother. And in this government, there'll be your mother who will remember you every day, who will listen to you, because we can't know about you without talking to you, without listening to you. And I know that inside that government will be youth. Because if you are not on the table, you might be on the menu. Baba's words, the government will be inclusive. And I know it will be. And I want to tell the youth, put your trust in us. Your mother will never forget you. And in Baba's basket, he has already outlined what is there for the youth. Jobs, industry will bring jobs. Agribusiness will bring jobs. Governance will bring jobs, because money that would have been idle in people's pockets to make them millionaires will be invested in enterprises that will make jobs for the people. If we are spending the money allocated on roads, building roads, and if we give a fair competition to our home-trained engineers, who anyway end up supervising even when foreigners get the contracts, it means there are much more jobs. And I give example of even something as basic as CDF. One classroom given to a local contractor provides jobs to more than 20 others. Those who will be on the site doing the mix and building. The women will be there providing the food. There will be the suppliers in the shop. Even something as small as Constituency Development Fund is a direct injection into the economy of the constituency. County funds are direct injection to the county economy. The national funds properly used, direct injection on the national economy, and with the right policies as we promise in Azimio, and the biggest being fighting corruption and ensuring good governance, this economy will fly, and we will all feel the effect. Now the economy is growing, but in a few pockets.
You want a landslide victory. You want an unquestionable victory.
I pray to Kenyans, let's walk this journey together.
Is it that your opponents fall short?
I don't want to speak about somebody. I want to speak about our strengths. Look at Baba's track record. His whole life devoted to fighting for the rights of Kenyans. When outside government and when in government. When in government and given opportunity, doing things that you can see and touch today. Look at him as Minister for Roads. At a time our roads were dilapidated. The heavy work of repairs and of starting new roads. Planning for the future. These highways that are being done date the era of when he was minister. I actually say it was done under his watch. We are now seeing those highways and bypasses and underpasses in major towns in Kenya. That is his work. He became recognized not just in Kenya, but in the whole continent, where he is the infrastructure high representative for AU. You can't go that unless if your credentials are well known. So he is a performer in a short word, and he has a lifelong commitment. He's a person you can trust. I've been in government too. I rolled out the water sector reforms. I did my bit in justice, including laying the infrastructure, legal infrastructure, for the constitution, which we already have. Even though it came when I had already resigned, that infrastructure served us right. And I want to remind Kenyans of my commitment fighting for the 2010 constitution. So you know I can deliver. In and out of government, I've been out of government for more than 10 years, together with Baba. Our voices have been heard loud and clear, even when out of government. I'm just saying the needs of Kenyans are written in our hearts. We have demonstrated commitment. Try us and you won't go wrong. And we are not alone. You can see recognizable other faces of people you know are committed. And I'm saying no other side has that. That's all that I will say. Let everybody come on their strengths. I've given ours. We are committed and we have a listening ear. We're willing to engage you because we cannot work for you without listening to you.
Thank you so much. It has been an absolute pleasure. It has been an honor. And have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon.
You too, and thank you.
SpiceFM.